Thanks for staying with us. At some point, most of us have had to plan a birthday party for a child, host a dinner party, or orchestrate a sleepover playdate for a bunch of energetic kids. So it's fair to say that we've had some event planning experience. But can event planning experience in our personal lives translate to successful event planning and management of business events? This week on Marketplace 101, Siobhan Thompson of CISA Concepts shares some useful tips about planning and managing business events. Tell us a bit about your background in event management.
Thanks for having me, Kristle. I have been in the event management business over 10 years. Produced local, regional, and international events, from weddings, concerts, award shows, anything, name it, I may have had a little hand in it.
What exactly is event management?
Event management, it's a relatively new and really exciting industry right now, Kristle. It's all about creating events, putting some project management into it, and executing events professionally.
People plan events for their children, birthday parties, dinner parties for their friends and families. Some of them plan events for their extended family members or even their own weddings. Can a regular person plan an event for a business?
Yeah, we all very capable of it. Once you have some structure, but most importantly, you must have the passion for it. If there's no passion, I'm sorry, you're not cut out for this. But we have a lot of people, all of us plan events every day. Regular people, you know, you have to go out later tonight. That is planning an event, you know. So
I suppose you have to get the transportation, who's picking up who.
Correct, yeah.
Who's paid for the food,
right.
How much money you need to pay for the food.
Yeah, we all planners, right? But at the end of the day, there is some structure to it.
But what type of events you think then really calls for an event management expert to come in?
The events that you want executed without error, zero error in it. It could be formal, informal, but once you want to ensure that you don't have headache on the day, then you're calling an event planner or event team to come and work with you to execute your concept and your ideas.
You mentioned formal and informal events. Can you give examples of each?
Sure. The formal events would be those that are really structured. You have an agenda, a program. So anything like an award ceremony, a wedding is very formal because you have the arrival of the bride, the sticking of the cake, the first dance, the second dance. So anything with a structure to it, we consider that a formal event. Informal could be anything like probably a child's birthday party, you know, where you don't actually say, okay, I'm going to stick the cake at 5 p.m. You never know what the kids get up to. You might be still pinning the tail on the pony and so on like that. So there's no real structure to it.
In terms of applying event management to businesses though, are there particular events that you think the business should outsource to a professional? And are there events, or what events are there that you could just give it to an employee who probably likes event planning and has some decent organizational skills?
It will definitely be a challenge to just give an employee that task to execute an event. Because event planning, it entails a lot of stuff like from research. You must research beforehand. The most important thing is planning. You also have to do assessment along the way, SWOT analysis, evaluation. So to give a regular employee, they may be able to execute it, but it may not be 100% flawless. They will definitely need some help, and like anything else, they may take longer to execute certain things, and they may not also have the relationship with suppliers to get you the relevant discounts that you may need, which will help, you know, with your expenses at the end of the day. So that's why you can call an event planner in for any event based on their relationships with their suppliers and to get the job done efficiently and effectively.
You Actually make event planning and management sound like a science.
It is. We actually have a conference called Eventology. So the same way how you have other professions that seem as, you know, a science behind it. Yes, there is definitely a science behind producing events.
What are some of the elements of an event that must be considered when planning?
Before anything else, you must really consider your target audience. In considering the target audience, you're then better able to plan everything else. If it is you're having a children's party, you know for sure that will guide you in terms of the age group, let you know what time the party should be, the venue you can use, the type of food, the type of entertainment. If you're just saying, someone comes to you and says, Siobhan, plan a party, I might, you know, decide to use Zen nightclub, and when in fact it's for a 5-year-old, that won't be appropriate.
Right.
All right, so most important, we have to see who the target audience is and all the stakeholders involved. So that is the main thing. The next thing is budget. How much money you're willing to spend on this event. This will then involve what type of suppliers that I go to and engage. I have low budget suppliers and I have high-end suppliers. And that will then guide me in terms of the design for the event, decor, type of food, type of music, type of entertainment.
We have target audience.
Yes.
We have budget.
We have budget, yes.
Anything else?
Those things that will create the wow factor. What in your event will create that wow factor and make it different to any other event? And you don't necessarily need to have a huge budget to create that wow factor.
There are some small businesses who might not have the resources to outsource or to hire an event manager. How would you advise them?
A lot of small businesses, when they come to me, first I ask them what is their budget to work with. And then I will give them some consultation and actually figure out how big their team is and give them some guidance in terms of the areas that they might be able to execute themselves. And I will be on hand to probably project manage the event and just assign and delegate duties to their team members. So when I come on board, firstly you look at their team, the strengths within the team, and give them the timelines in which they have to execute their job.
So you have some HR and event planning too.
Yes, the event planning has a lot of skills that you have to use.
If the small business has a tiny budget for event planning, very small budget, what is the one element of event planning you think they should outsource?
I think if with a small budget, I think the planning part of it, in terms of sitting down and deciding all the elements that the event has to cover, they should spend the money on that as opposed to the decor or food or bar. Because what you do there with the planner, you actually sit down and you are able to look at the scope of works for that particular event and then go through and decide what is needed and what's not needed based on your wish list.
In your experience, what element of event planning is most overlooked?
I think a lot of people don't consider the actual meet and greet of persons coming to the event. The meet and greet is very important because that is where you actually, the first encounter with your clients, your customers coming into the event and your guests. So if it is they go to park, the parking attendant is the first point of contact to the event. So if the parking attendant is not pleasant or gives you bad directions, you are very upset by the time you get to the door. So I think meet and greet and the interaction with the parking attendants or any receptionists or your accreditation team, I think that is really overlooked.
Do you have any advice for when Murphy shows up 5 seconds before your event is about to start?
You put on your boxing gloves and go at him. I think most importantly about Murphy showing up is that your reaction to it and a lot of times it's based on your resources and your networking. So take for instance, there was a situation at an event when the ACs shut down at a wedding. What do you do at 8 o'clock in the night in a venue and the AC goes? At that point in time, you have to go into your little black book and call your regular suppliers and say, listen, I need a porta cool here now, and get it in, because you can't have your guests sweating. So I think really it's about your relationships and your networking that helps you through the day when Murphy shows up.
For those of you who might be a little bit confused about who Murphy is, we're actually just talking about Murphy's Law, where anything that can go wrong will definitely go wrong. You manage two companies that deal with events. We have Fever International and CISA Event Concepts. What services do they offer?
Fever International is a full-service event management company. We specialize in providing support in decor, catering, producing timelines, and basically just taking away the headache from creating that event.
And CISA?
And CISA, it's relatively a new company, established 2 years ago. We saw the gap in the market to provide lounge furniture. So it's really sophisticated, chic furniture that you can use to transform any space, whether it's being a wedding, poolside, you having a small get-together at your home, if you want to create a VIP area, if you have the Prime Minister coming to a particular event, you can use my furniture and transform your space.
Could you tell us what's probably the most memorable event that you've worked on, or the event that you're most proud of?
Actually, the one that I just produced this weekend gone here, it was for the launch of a very popular champagne, all-white poolside party. That one was pretty blew mind. The place, we transformed the venue. When guests walk in, to see everyone maintaining the white dress code, and when the sun went down and the lights came up, I mean, it was totally epic. You know, everyone, champagne flowing, everybody happy, great music, great decor. Everyone had a great time.
How can you be contacted for your event management services?
My telephone number is 770-7448. My email address is sisaconcepts@gmail.com. That's SISA concepts@gmail.com. Later this year, I should be launching my Facebook page.
You can't really be productive if your phone is dead, right? And our first app is one that'll keep your phone trucking a little longer to help you get more done.